Hey guys, welcome to Situation 12 of our Marriage Situations playlist. Today we're going to go back to Molly. We kind of abandoned her in situation number 1. We met her again with her husband Tom and all that stuff about the bedroom, but we really never focused on her. If you remember, Molly was a people pleaser, and it was a problem for her because she couldn't say no. At that time, she was working really hard, working overtime, and every night she didn't come home because she was busy working overtime and hated doing it. But Larry was her boss. That's how we met Larry. Here's the thing. She did go to therapy, and she started to realize that she could say no, which is great. But saying no and being a people pleaser can work together. They don't necessarily have to be something where you get rid of being a people pleaser so that you could keep on saying no. Sometimes being a people pleaser can go along with being courageous, self-determined, listening to who you really are and what you really want, going after something that's important to you, and using the people-pleasing as a tool. In other words, instead of being driven by a part of her that's totally afraid to say no, a part of her that's totally under the control of all the other people in her life, including her boss, instead of being driven that way, what if she listens to the voice of her true self and what she wants to do and what she needs to do, but uses the people-pleasing skills that she always had to further the conversation in a way that gets to the end that she likes. So if there's anything I want you to come away with from this video, is this. We don't have to abandon all the skills that we acquired in order for us to be successful and be self-led. Being self-led can take little pieces of some of the parts that we've used in our lives and incorporate them into what we want to do. For example, let's take an example. I am DrDeb, right? And I'm speaking to, well, I hope it feels like I'm speaking to you. Actually, I'm speaking to my cell phone, which is propped up on a stand. And if I start thinking about that, I'm going to get nervous and worried. And oh my gosh, are people going to listen? Do they care? Do they like this? Don't they like this? Oh my gosh, am I making sense? Am I helping? When the worry part comes in, that's no good. But see, there was another part of me as a little kid. I would perform, you do a song and dance thing and people clap and laugh and they think you're cute. So if I could be that now, then I don't have to worry whether people are there, whether they're listening. I'm just pretending. I'm talking to a large audience, even though I'm only talking to my cell phone. So I'm incorporating that actor part in me into this. In addition, there's this part of me that just loves the therapy ideas, especially the ones I use, right? Because I think they're great. So I'm incorporating that part too. So that's the point I'm making. You can utilize and fall back on parts just because each part has an agenda and goes in one direction does not make it bad. And the parts really aren't bad. What they are is burdens. They're little kids who had to help you out under tough circumstances. So in this particular case, Molly's part, teaching her to be a people pleaser, was very helpful because she didn't get punished, because she would smile and look cute and sweet and do whatever she was told to do, and everyone loved her. So she got somewhere. She avoided all the craziness that her siblings got. Some of them got punished. Some of them were in serious trouble, and as teenagers, they even broke the law. But not Molly. She was the goody-goody. So you see, her people-pleasing really helped her. But why not take those skills into her present life? And so in therapy, that's what she's learning. She's learning to value all the skills she's acquired, including being a people pleaser. So one of the things that has just come up is that her daughter Elizabeth, who's in 5th grade, has had some run-ins with a particular bully teacher. So one day Elizabeth wrote an essay. Molly hears that the teacher humiliated her. She took her essay, read it out loud, and so the teacher read this little paragraph and pointed out all the mistakes in front of the whole class. Didn't you know that you should put a period at the end of a sentence? She came home crying. And so Molly had the idea, her first reaction was to try to tell Elizabeth to just smile and accept it. But she didn't like that at all. She knew that was wrong. She knew that was morally wrong. No one should accept abuse. She was accepting Larry's abuse for years at that office. Thank God she finally said, no, I'm not working overtime. No. Well, why should she tell Elizabeth to accept abuse from the teacher? No, teachers aren't always right. So what she did is she went to school. She made an appointment and went to school to meet the teacher. And she said, you know, Mrs. Humber-Jumble, I appreciate that you are a stickler for doing things right. I think that's great. There was her people-pleasing skill. But Elizabeth felt humiliated as you read that essay that she wrote to the class and made those corrections, making her feel stupid and wrong. She actually said that. Mrs. Humber-Jumble didn't know what to say, and very frankly, sometimes that doesn't work. It can backfire on the child. And Molly had a plan for that. She decided that if it backfired on the child, she would talk to the principal, and she might even talk to the Board of Ed. But she wasn't going to let this child get humiliated again, nor should any child in that class or any other. And she kind of went in with a little bit of confidence, not much, but some, because she knew she was right. These are qualities of self-energy. And she combined that with the people-pleasing skill. And she said, you know, I'm sure, Mrs. Humber-Jumble, that you only wanted the best for the children, and you wanted to make a point. And I think that's great. But some kids are more sensitive than others. So bear that in mind. And she left with a smile. We don't know what happened. I'm not going to say it went well or it went poorly for Elizabeth, because who knows? Different teachers, you can fight your way up the ranks, sometimes all the way to the Board of Ed and not get anywhere. And then you may have to withdraw your kid and homeschool them if no one cooperates and everything is bad. Or telling Elizabeth, that was a bad teacher. Don't be nice to her just because you want to people please her, but don't be rude either, and get through the term and you'll have a new teacher next year. Any of these are possibilities on how the story ends, so I'm not going to go there. The point is that Molly combined her people-pleasing skills to the best of her ability with her courage and her love of her child and a tiny little bit of confidence that maybe she could do this right. And she did. Now, if you want to have an opportunity to feel your true self, that courage that you have, and whatever level of confidence you can sum up, and push aside the voices that tell you to run the other way, then please go to my website, DrDeb.com, and just go ahead and sign up for my newsletter so that you can get a free download of a meditation to feel the feelings of your true self. And let me know how that goes. I do want to hear from you. Take care.